Chapter 8 Tucker's Life Savings. Chester Cricket was having a dream. In his dream, he was eating on the top of the stump bag connection, eating a leaf from the willow tree. He would bite off a piece of leaf, chew it up, and swallow it. But for some reason, it didn't taste good as usual. There was something dry and peppery about it, and it had bitter flavor. So Chester kept eating, hoping that it would begin to taste better. A storm came up in his dream. The wind blew clouds of dust across the meadow. They swirled around his stump, and Chester began to sneeze because the dust got in his nose. But he still held on to the leaf. And then he sneezed such a big sneeze that woke him up. Chester looked around him. He had been walking in his sleep, and he was sitting on the edge of the cash register. The storm had been gusts of air that blew into the newsstand when Shuttle pulled up to the station. He was still choking from the dirt that flew around him. Chester looked down at his two front legs, half expecting to find the willow leaf, but it was no leaf he was holding. It was a $2 bill, and he had already eaten half of it. He dropped the bill and leaped over to the cricket cage, where Tucker Mouse was sleeping peacefully. Chester shook the silver bell furiously. It rang like a fire alarm. Tucker jumped out from under a sprinkled blanket of dollar bills and ran around the cage shouting, "Help! Fire! Murder! Please!" Then he realized where he was and sat down and panting. "What is the matter with you, Chester?" he said. "I could have died from the fright." I just ate half of $2 bill," said Chester. Tucker stared at him with disbelief. "What, you did what?" he asked. "Yes," said Chester. "Look." He fetched his worn $2 bill from the cash register. I dreamed it was leaf, and I ate it." "Oh, oh, oh, oh," moaned Tucker Mouse. "Not a $1 bill, not even a dollar bill, and a 50-cent piece, the dollar you had to eat. And from the billionaires, too. People who hardly make $2 in 2 days." "What am I going to do?" asked Chester. "Pack your bags and go to California," said Tucker. Chester shook his head. "I can't," he said. "They've been so good to me. I can't run away." Tucker Mouse shrugged his shoulders. "Then stay and take a rap," he said. He kept out of the cage and exclaimed the remains of the money. "There's still half of it left. Maybe we will put scotch tape along the edge and pass a bit up as a $1 bill." "No one would believe it," said Chester. He sat down, still furiously holding a bill. Oh dear, and things were going along so nicely. Tucker Mouse put bedclothes back in the cash register drawer and came to sit beside Chester. "Buck up," he said. "We would still figure something out, maybe." They both concentrated for a minute. Then Tucker clapped his paws and squeaked. "I got it. Eat the rest of it, and they'll never know what happened." They'd accuse each other of losing it, said Chester. I don't want to make any bad feelings between them. Oh no, you're honorable, said Tucker. It's disgusting. Besides, it tastes bad, added Chester. Then how about this? Tucker had a new idea. We frame a janitor who cleans the station. I'll take the advance over and plant in his water closet. He whooped me with a mop last week. I'd be glad to see him to go to jail for a few days. No, said Chester. We can't get somebody else in trouble. Then a stranger, said Tucker. We tip over the clinics, break the glass in the alarm clock, and throw a small change on the floor. They'll think a thief came in the night. You could even put a bandage on and make out like a hero. I could see it all. No, Chester interrupted. The damage we do would cost even more than $2. Tucker had one more idea. He was going to volunteer to go over and swipe $2 from the lunch counter. But before he could suggest that, the top of the stand was suddenly lifted off. They had forgotten what time it was. Mama Belly, who was on Dusty in the morning, stood touring, frowned down on them. Tucker let us out of squeak of fear and jumped to the floor. Catch a mouse! Shouted Mama. She picked it up, a Fortune magazine, and very big and heavy, and habit it after Tucker. It hit him on the left hind leg just as he vanished into the drain pipe. Chester Cricket sat frozen to the spot. He was caught red-handed, holding a $2 in his front legs. Roaring with rage, Mama Boney picked him up by his antennae, tossed him into a cricket cage, and locked the gate behind him. When she had the newsstand in order, she pulled out her kindling and began to work furiously. But she was so angry she kept dropping stitches and that made her angrier still. Chester crouched in the far corner of the cage. Things had been going so well between Mama and him, but that was over now. He had expected that she would pick him up, cage and all, and throw him onto the shuttle tracks. At 8:30, Marion and Papa arrived. Marion wanted to go to Coney Island for swimming today, but before he could even say good morning, Mama Bellini stretched out her hands and pointed Stanley at Chester. There he was, with the advice beside him. A squeak-cornered conversation began. Mama denounced Chester as a money-eater and said further that she suspects him of advice mouth and other inspiring character in the newsstand at night. Papa said he didn't think Chester had eaten $2 on purpose. And what difference did it make if a mouse or two came in? Mama said he had to go. Papa said he could stay, but he had to be kept in the cage. And Marion knew that Chester, like people who are used to freedom, would rather die alive in his life behind bars. Finally, it was decided that since the cricket was Maria's pet, the boy would have to replace the money. And when we had, Chester could come out again. Until then, the cage. By working part-time delivering groceries, when he wasn't taking care of the newsstand, Maria thought he could earn enough a couple of weeks to get Chester out of jail. Of course, that would mean no swimming at the Coney Island, and no movies, and nothing. But it was worth it. He fed Cricket he fed he fed the Cricket his breakfast, leftover asparagus tip, and a piece of cabbage leaf. Chester had practically no appetite after what had happened. Then, when the Cricket was finished, Mario said goodbye and told him not to worry, and went to the grocery store to see about his job. That night, after Papa had shut up the newsstand, Chester was hanging through the glued bars of his cage. Earlier in the evening, Mario had come back to feed him his supper. But then he had to leave right away to get in a few more hours of work. Most of the day, Chester has spent inventing hope games to try to keep himself entertained. But they didn't work really. He was bored and lonely. The funny thing was that although he had been sleepy and kept wishing it were night, now that it was. He couldn't fall asleep. Chester heard the soft padding of feet beneath him. Harry Cat sprang up and landed off the shelf. In a moment, Tucker Mouse followed him to the stool, groaning with pain. He was still limping in his left hind leg, where Fortune magazine had hit him. "How long is the sentence?" said Harry. "Until Mario can pay the money," said Chester. "Couldn't you get out the bail for the time being?" asked Tucker. "No," said Chester. "And anyway, nobody has any bail. I'm surprised they let me off that easily." Harry kept folded his front paws over each other and rested his head on them. "Let me get this straight," he said. "Does Mario have to work for the money as punishment, or does he just have to get it somewhere?" "He just had to get it," said Chester. "Why should he punish? I'm the one who ate the money." Harry looked at Tucker a long look, as if he expected the mouse to say something. Tucker began to fidget. "Say, Chester, you want to escape?" he asked. We can open the cage. You could come and live in here during pipe." "No," Chester shook his head. "It wouldn't be fair to Mario. I'll just have Sir out the time." Harry looked at Tucker again and began tapping one of his paws. "Well," he said finally. Tucker moaned and messaged his sore spot. "Oh, my poor leg. Then Mama Bunny can sure have a magazine." "Feel a bump, Harry," he offered. "I felt it already," said Harry. "Now enough of the staring. You have money." "Tucker has money?" said Chester Cricket. Tucker looked nervously from one to another. "I'll have my life savings," he said in pert voice. "His richest mouse in New York," said Harry. "Old Moneybags Mouse." he's known as. Now wait a minute, Harry, said Tucker. Let's not make too much from few nickels and dimes. How did you get money? asked Chester. Tucker Mask cleared his throat and began whirling his 2 front feet. When he spoke, his voice was all choked up with emotion. Years ago, he said, when yet a little mouse I was, tender in age and lacking in experience, I moved from the sweet sense of my childhood, turns urban, that is into Times Square subway station, and it was here that I learned the balloon of economics, which means saving. Many an old mouse did I see, crawling away unwanted to poor Mouse Grape, because he had not a slave. And I resolved that such a fate would never come to me. All of the which means that you've got a pile of loot back there in the drain pipe, said Harry Cat. Just a minute, please. If you wouldn't mind, said Tucker. I'll let it in my own way. His voice became high and pitiful again. So full all the long years of my youngs, when I could have been gambling with paper, which means playing with the other mousies. I say paper, I say food, I say clothing. Save time and get to the point, said Harry. Tucker gave Harry a sour smile. And I also say money, he went on. In the course of many years of seconding, it was only natural I should find a certain amount of loose change, often my friends. Tucker put his hand over his heart. Would I see it in the opening of my drain pipe, watching the humans spinning and waiting, and whenever one of them dropped a coin, however small, pennies, I would dash out. I'd grab her to life and limb, and bring it back to my house. When I think of my 10 pink shoes and the dangerous calluses, many times I had my toes stabbed or my whiskers torn off because of these levers. But it was worth it. Oh, it was worth it. My friends, on ounces now I have $2 5 quarters, 2 dimes, 6 nickels, and 18 pennies tucked away in the drain pipe, which make $2.93, said Harry Cat, after doing some quick additions. And I'm proud of it, said Tucker Mouse. If you got all that, why did you want to sleep on the $2 bills on the cricket cage? Asked Chester. No folding money yet, said Tucker. It's new sensation. You can get Chester out and still have 93 cents left, said Harry Cat. I'll be ruined, moved Tucker. I'll be whipped out. Who'll take care of me in my old age? I will, said Harry. Now stop acting like skinflint and let's get money. Chester rang the silverware to attention. I don't think Tucker should have given up to his life savings, he said. It's his money and he can do what he wants it. Tucker Mouse pulled her in the leaves. Listening to cricket, he said. acting noble and making me look like a bum. Of course, I gave the money. Whenever mice are smoking off, never let it be said the Tucker Mouse was stingy with his worldly goods. Besides, I could think of it as rent I pay for sleeping in the age, in order that Tucker could keep at least one of each kind coin. Harry Cat figured out that they should bring over $1/2, 4 quarters, 1 dice, 5 nickels, and 50 cents. That would leave the mouse with $1/2, a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and 3 cents. It's not bad beginning, said Tucker. I could make the losses in an year, maybe. The cat and the mouse had to survive trips back and forth between the drain pipe and newsstand, carrying the money in their mouth. They passed the coins into the cage one by one. The Chester buried them off into a column, starting with $1/2 on the top, on the bottom, and ending with a ding, which was smallest on the top. It was morning by the time they were finished. They had just time enough to share half a hot dog before Mama Bellini was due to open the stand. Mario came with her. He wants to feed Chester early and then work all morning until he took over a newsstand at noon. When they lifted off the cover, Mama almost dropped her end. There was Chester sitting on top of the column of change, chirping merrily. Mama's first suspicion was that a cricket had sneaked out to summon all the money from the cash register to the cage. But when she looked in the drawer, the money from the night before he was still there. Mario had the idea that Papa might have left it as a surprise. Mama shook her head. She would certainly have known if he had $2 to leave anybody. They asked Paul to conjecture if he seen anyone around the newsstand. He said no. The only thing he noticed was that the big cat who sometimes purred through the station had seemed to be busier than usual and last night. And of course they knew that he couldn't have had anything to do with replacing the money. But whoever left it, Mama Bellini was true her word. Chester was allowed out of the cage, and no further questions were asked. Also, she wouldn't have admitted it for the world. Mama felt the same way about money that Tucker Mouse did. When you had it, and you didn't matter too much about where it came from.